Police in Freeport tape off part of the city's east side as they investigate a shooting. It happened around 1:30 Wednesday afternoon in the 900 block of South Carroll Avenue. When officers arrived, 2 people had been struck by gunfire. Officers then learned of a third gunshot victim who was transported to FHN Hospital. During the course of the investigation, officers learned that those who were injured were in front of a residence when a male suspect began firing shots from behind a home. The suspect fled the area prior to the officers' arrival. According to FHN, the hospital went into lockdown Wednesday afternoon, which is standard protocol for the hospital anytime there is a suspected shooting victim undergoing treatment. As of 2:40 this afternoon, the lockdown is only in effect in the emergency room.